Hello there. Now, we've all watched a TV series or show of some description that we really goddamn well loved, and then it just ends, and we're like, is that really it? And then sometimes we're saved by that said show having a spin-off series, some kind of thing set in the same universe. I'm looking at you, things like Law and Order, NCIS, which just have a plethora. I mean, I can't even count how many of those shows there are, and all are interconnected different things like Cold Case that all just sort of throw it all together. But they don't all survive. Here's going to be my breakdown of some of my favourite shows that are spun off from other shows that I really like, but didn't make the cut or haven't been given, in my opinion, a fair shout at success. To be clear, I'm excluding programs like Firefly that is not a spin-off. Yes, it was cut short, and I'd like to include it on this list, but it's not. This isn't that list. This is a list of spin-off shows only. So, no Firefly, no True Calling, no Dollhouse. Shows that were cancelled but really shouldn't have been. That's not this. But let's get started on my actual breakdown. First of all, we have Crusade. Crusade was a spin-off series from Babylon 5, which spun off from the movie A Call to Arms. Basic plot: Earth's infected by a deadly disease. The great ship Excalibur, which is a hybrid vessel of various different technologies, human, Vorlon, Minbari, put together with a human crew, sent out to find a cure. It only ran for like 13 episodes. It starred Gary Cole, Daniel Day Kim, and a whole host of other people who were really talented cast. Peter Woodward particularly stands out as a sort of magical Merlin type character. The whole show is basically the quest for the Holy Grail, just done in a sci-fi setting. The show was never really given a fair shout, as it was aired out of order. They kept changing the days, and there was a lot of studio interference, and ultimately its ambition was greater than its scope. Unfortunately, got cancelled. Next, we've got Caprica. Caprica, again, spun off from Battlestar Galactica. It's a prequel series set before the first Cylon War. An honourable shout out here also to Battlestar Galactica Blood and Chrome, which started out originally as a pilot for a new series, then became a web series. Now it's just a standalone little movie set during the war, which was meant to be early life of Adama. Caprica, however, ran for one season and is purely set on the planet of Caprica and shows the rise of the first Cylons, how they were created by the Greystone Industries, what the first Cylon was, why it was created. But it had a lot of B-plots that were clearly linking into other stuff about Tor and crime families and things of this nature that were all meant to be funneling the show towards a greater storyline arc that, again, similar to Crusade, like its Babylon 5 predecessor, and like this, in this case, its Battlestar Galactica predecessor, it was ambition beyond the scope. That basically the studio didn't have the patience to let the show find its footing and find its story, and they just ended it. It's a great shame. It was a very good series. Next, we have the Winchesters. Now, this one I'm going to be brief because this may be a bit of a cheat, because as of the uploading of this video, there is no renewed season 2. There is only a season 1, and I really love Supernatural. I mean, I loved it. I recently binge watched it for various reasons. I'd never finished watching it in its first airing, and I binge watched it, and oh my god, I'm still not over the ending. That was a serious kick to the gut, in the best kind of way, but was a kick to the gut. They created again a prequel series called The Winchesters. Now, there were numerous attempts to create Supernatural spin-offs, things like a show that was going to be all female centric and about Jodie and a few of the other characters spinning off into their own show. There was meant to be a show which was actually going to feature about the monsters, which was going to be all like monster families ruled in the city of, I believe, Chicago, and how they're operating in the background. There were lots of little backdoor pilots, but none of them went anywhere. And The Winchesters was made, and it's gone for one season. It does retcon a few things from Supernatural a little bit, but generally it was good. But again, it's not been renewed, so it might be a little cheap, because it might still get a season 2, as there is a bit of a fan petition to get it. But as of right now, there's just one season. I had a lot of choices for this next one, but for a spin-off from Doctor Who. There have been many Doctor Who spin-offs over the years, and some good, some bad. Some were successful. Things like the Sarah Jane Adventures actually went for quite a while, and some of them are more kid-orientated, and then you got the other end of the spectrum, which is this, Torchwood. Torchwood, I know it actually had a few seasons and had a couple of standalone movies, but it was cancelled before its time. It featured a recurring character that was originally in Doctor Who, but it took a darker, more adult tone, going as far as having sex scenes having people die in quite violent, brutal fashion. I mean, Children of the Earth. My God, that miniseries of Torchwood is brutal. I mean, brutal. But it is awesome, and it was again cancelled. It was never fully appreciated because of its darker tone. It never found its audience with the same Doctor Who community as the main title series, as well as spin-offs like the Sarah Jane Adventures and K9 and things of that nature. So Torchwood, it got given a shot, but it didn't get its audience, and I think that's what ultimately killed it. Next we have The Lone Gunman. I had a couple of choices here. This is a spin-off from The X-Files, but I think Millennium, the other spin-off from The X-Files starring Lance Henriksen, actually got a good storyline arc to it. It ran for 5 seasons, was a very good. Lone Gunman, unless you watched it and then you watched the series finale, the original run of The X-Files, you didn't really understand what had happened to them. No spoilers. But they had their own spin-off show, and they were originally Mulder's kooky kind of sidekicks who he went to, and they were conspiracy theorists and were a bit nuts. But they were funny, and the show took a somewhat lighter-hearted tone than the main X-Files series, tackling similar issues and sort of going along the B-plot storylines. They were more standalone, and I think because it was a bit lighter than the X-Files and Millennium, it didn't fit in with the same audience. The characters, although I personally really enjoyed it, I don't think all the X-Files fans did, and it could have gone on for, I feel like Millennium, it could have gone on for about 3 seasons, but instead they cut it short and had it end and then tied it off in the X-Files, which is also what they sort of did with Millennium. After going for 3 seasons, they kind of rounded it off in the X-Files itself. Finally, we have Highlander the Raven. Highlander, the TV series, controversial opinion, I enjoy it far more than most of the movies. That said, I have a pretty weird taste where the Highlander film is concerned. I like Highlander 3 more than I like the original Highlander. I don't like Highlander 2 at all, although I would like to see the director's cut with its restored story. Highlander the TV series was really good. Again, they attempted several backdoor pilots in the later seasons, but eventually settled on a series featuring Amanda, who was a recurring thief immortal, much older than the MacLeod family, but she was like 900 years old, I believe, and she was a thief, but with a heart of gold. And the whole story was about her trials and tribulations, her life lessons, her relationship with a police officer who was a nascent immortal. There's a bit of a spoiler for you, so spoiler warning, I suppose. Highlander the Raven ran for 1 season. It was by no means the only spin-off from the Highlander movies. It was the principal one from the Highlander show, though. It didn't spin off directly from the movies. But it was a lot of fun, and again, it ended with not a cliffhanger or anything like that, but it ended fairly brutal and abrupt. And it deserved better. It was a very good show with, again, a talented cast. There have been a couple of little mini shorts that have been made since then that have not rounded it off in any way, but have had the characters come back. But all the same, very good. Let me know in the comment section below if there's any other spin-off series that you really enjoyed that spun off from something you liked that got cancelled before their time.